What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. And today, this is actually going to be a fun one. This is one we're actually going to be going kind of all around the room, just kind of talking about, what have we tried doing before in the past? I know with me, I got suckered into doing a lot of different things, right? Keto, intermittent fasting, all these different types of diets to try to successfully burn body fat and keep it off. And it just worked for a short period of time, but then it wasn't really sustainable for me. So today's episode, we're going to be kind of just going around the room. I got a lot of speakers, which I'm very grateful for. And I'm really excited to kind of hear everybody's story as far as what people have tried doing before in the past. And then, what kind of led them to Heartletics. And then most importantly is like, what have they learned from Heartletics? Obviously our coaching program is more geared towards teaching people sustainable habits that best suits their lifestyle and their goals. So I'm really excited to hear some of the responses. And the reason why we're kind of making this episode is just to, once again, just inspire anybody out there from the outside listening in to just kind of give them some encouragement and just give them some motivation and, some hope to just keep on going until you find out what works best for you. Just keep on trying. Don't ever give up. So with that being said, Mark, why don't you go first, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I'd say is I tried everything, right? So, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, basically you name it, I did it, Singular. But what I found through all of those was they may have worked for a short period of time, but it was a yo-yo effect where, I would try something, put it back on, try something, put it back on. Nothing was sustainable and nothing taught me really how to eat going forward. It was just do this. And then once you stopped doing that, the weight came back on because it wasn't teaching you a lifestyle. And as far as what I've learned from Heartletics, I mean, that list could go on forever. But the main thing that I'm going to point out right now is I learned the value of stepping out of my comfort zone. Basically, stepping out of all those self-limiting beliefs and trying things that I never thought were part of me just brought so much growth that, I don't even know what else to say.
That's a good one. I wasn't even expecting to say that. And hey, since stepping outside your comfort zone from start to finish, what kind of success have you had?
Down, over 90 pounds, went from 35% body fat to somewhere around 14, 15% at this point, but also just a complete lifestyle change, which is more important than any of that. I'm just a happier, healthier person all around and a better member of my family.
I love that. I love that. Coach Brian, why don't you go next, brother?
Yeah, definitely. Do you mind if I kind of steer it just a little bit different direction for what I've
do your thing, man? This is the Coach Brian podcast. Take over, bro.
No. Real quickly, one thing that I did not take, I didn't really prioritize was sleep. Before Heartletics, as a shift worker, 12-hour rotating shift, I should have been prioritizing every bit of sleep I could get, but I've always been a night owl, kind of burning the candle at every end I could light, and just I'll go to sleep and grab a couple hours and then get up. It's time to rock and roll the next day. But I didn't understand how important and how impactful that was and the harm I was doing to myself. And Heartletics was great in teaching me how to eat, how to work out, how to do all these other different things. But man, to really understand that I needed to prioritize my rest and my recovery time. And I was able to see through all the trends and things we tracked, the impact it made on me and had on my life. And then the approaches you gave me to silencing my phone, actually getting myself, making sure that I get in bed and have a stop time. This is time to wind down, stop your day, get in the bed, prioritizing my sleep time, getting my task done and not trying to do other things and then wait till late in the night and be up all night doing things, and to, like I said, to prioritize that rest and recovery time. That's one thing that really impacted me. And I've taken, as when I was working shift, I used over-the-counter meds, prescription meds. I used alcohol, tried things to help me sleep when all I needed to do was just make it important and say, here's my time to stop the day, get my rest, because I need it to be able to function and do the things that I want to be able to do well and take care of myself the next day. Now I just use sleepy time tea and I'm out like a light. It's wonderful. But man, it's been a life-changing impact. Really, it has.
What has been some of the things that you tried before, uncovering about Heartletics and becoming a client and then, getting the sleep under control?
To try to get the sleep under control?
Just anything that you tried before in the past, to,
Oh, yeah.
help you reach your goals.
Well, like keto diet, I worked with that, trying to lose weight. That, like Mark said, that was a great tool. Knocked the weight out just like that. And then it came right back because I didn't learn anything. I never knew. I didn't learn how I needed to eat and to continue doing that and change my lifestyle. I tried that Ideal Protein, I think it was. That was the one that you like freaked out because I was eating like 800 to 1,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
Don't know how I was sustaining that. It was nuts. Just basically starving myself.
Yeah. And what has been your success, man? Obviously, you mentioned about like the sleep. That's been like the number one takeaway. But I guess from start to finish, man, who you were back in the day compared to who you are now.
Yeah, I'm a completely different person, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I've lost really very similar stats to Coach Mark, right over 90 pounds. I went from somewhere mid to upper 30s body fat. I've just average right around 14% now and kind of maintain that. My mental state is just completely different. I'm so much more clear-headed, focused. I'm able to get things done and to stay on task. And I attribute that, like, that's why I wanted to speak about sleep. I attribute that to my rest and making sure that I prioritize that.
Yeah, I love that, brother. And Mike Berry, Coach Mike in the house. Why don't you go next, man? I know that when me and you had our discovery call, you mentioned about trying several different things. Why don't you kind of inform everybody that's listening and tuning in, like what has been, some of the things that you tried doing before in the past, what has worked for you and led to your success at Heartletics?
For me, I've tried Weight Watchers, counting points, did decent at it, and then as soon as I stopped, it all came back plus. I've done the keto. I had good success with keto. Dropped 30 pounds, finished the program, put on 45 afterwards. Over time, and so it's always a yo-yo effect for me. I had good success with Body Beast. I put on a ton of muscle, slimmed down. As soon as I finished 12-week program, it all came back. But I was eating a lot of calories and working out heavy. And so what happened also is that messed with my diabetes because they were pushing carbs real hard. I didn't understand what that was doing to me. So once I got in here, I learned that balance and consistency is the key for me. And that's just getting by some of the old injuries and everything and learning how to work around those things. Before, once I was hurt, I stopped everything. I didn't do anything. And now I'm learning to kind of work around those injuries, substitute exercises, listen to the coaches. Don't be married to the scale. Be married to the mirror. Look at yourself and see what you're doing.
I love that. That's great advice, man. Thank you for sharing that. Joe Lorraine, man, why don't you go next, man? You've tried several different things. I was actually seeing one of your posts from a while back inside the community group. You tried multiple different things, man. Why don't you kind of share with everybody what it is that you tried, whether you had success or not, and then what kind of led you to, sign up for Heartletics, and then something that you learned from our coaching program?
Yeah, it's kind of funny listening to everybody. I'm sitting there going, wow, it's a recurring theme. We've all done everything. And same thing, I've done Weight Watchers, Noom, intermittent fasting, and then not only that, but then the exercise stuff, P90X, Insanity, the Beast thing, all these different things. And nothing stuck, right? I guess the last thing I did, which kind of put, and again, this is something that's been going on for like 20 years, right? Just been struggling off and on all the time. And I think the last thing that kind of put me over the edge and all those emails, calls, videos, and podcasts I watched with Coach Joe kind of got me to give him a call was I did Nutrisystem. That was the last thing I did. And that was probably one of the most brutal things I did.
Yeah.
The processed food. And then I did, I lost weight, right? I did it. I lost probably 15, 20 pounds. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it again for another 3 months. And I it was like hard to continue to eat. And then I finally just said, all right, I'm going to stop. I think I can do it on my own. And I gained probably 25, 30 pounds on top of it, just
Jeez.
like that. A week later, all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened? And then it was like, before I knew it, I was over where I started. And I said, this is ridiculous. And that's when I called Coach Joe. And, and I think one of the things I posted on a Facebook thing we had for Heartletics was the education you get here, right?
Yeah.
This is not do this for 12 weeks and see you later. This is going to change your life forever, right? This is something that's sustainable. It's something you can continue to do. And I think the one thing besides the food, besides the exercises that I really learned was it's okay to be selfish, right?
Yeah.
Forever. And my wife has always said this to me, that I always put everybody before myself. It didn't matter. My sister, would call me in the middle of the night. Oh, my toilet's leaking. Oh, I got to go over. It doesn't matter if it was 12 o'clock at night. I got to go fix it. She's like, no, you don't have to. You got a family and everything. So I think that was the one thing that I learned was it's okay to be selfish, because if I'm selfish, making myself better, I'm better for everybody around me.
Yeah.
I'm a better father. I'm a better boss. I'm a better friend. So that was the one thing, again, losing the weight, losing the body fat, building my muscle, getting stronger. It's all awesome. But that is the one thing that I think really kind of turned the tide was it's okay. It's okay to put myself in front.
Yeah, I love that. I honestly do, because like it's not selfish at all, especially if it's just like you think about yourself being this battery, and if you're pouring back out into others, sometimes you got to recharge yourself, right, in order to do that. So thank you for sharing. Brendan, you're relatively new, man. You're still in phase 1 right now, and like I'm excited to hear about what you've tried doing before Heartletics, and then obviously like very early on and fresh into our coaching program, man. What has been something that you learned so far that's been helping you along this journey?
Yeah, I mean, I've done just like everybody else. I've tried all these different things, and I would say right now, just finishing week 2 of phase 1, none of everything that I did was fun, but I'm just having a blast right now. I'm having a lot of fun with Heartletics. I don't know if it's tracking the food. I don't know if it's the workouts. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's this community, but I'm just having a lot of fun. This is the best part of my day.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. We got Super Bowl coming up. Kind of looking at some of the Traeger. Got the sweatshirt on. I'd smoke that. So that's my Traeger sweatshirt. I am a Traeger dealer. So just trying to figure, go Birds. I'm a Patriots fan, so I hate Kansas City. But yeah, that's the biggest thing for me is I'm just having a lot of fun with it right now. And I see that it's definitely going to be a lifestyle change, and the fun's going to continue.
I love that, brother. Thank you so much for sharing that. Phil, let's have you go next, my man. And, why don't you give everybody kind of the rundown, former client and then coming back. And I just got off the phone with you about an hour ago, and I'm just blown away with just how impressed I am with this new Phil that came back. Why don't you kind of share with everybody your story? Because who knows, maybe that might inspire somebody to just realize here that, hey, maybe it's just the mindset shift also that needs to come into play when it comes to creating sustainable habits.
I'm a boomerang client, I guess you call that, right? I go come back and run forward, right? No, I mean, listen, I started back up a few weeks ago, and I'm just on track, getting the protein in, doing the workouts, just making sure I'm taking care of myself. I did Heartletics, I would say, half-heartedly the first time, so therefore it didn't work. And so, like everybody else, I've done every diet under the sun and everything out there. But, this program's different in the fact that there's a community there's resources, there's specific guidelines, there's somebody holding you accountable. Like, you don't want to do your check-in when something goes wrong because you're like, man, I messed up, they're going to get all over me. So the one thing you learn with Heartletics is accountability. And sometimes it just takes, I'm a stubborn person, as anybody will tell you. So sometimes it takes a couple of go-arounds before it finally gets in your head. But at this point, I'm just just following and tracking along. And everybody that's on this screen that's been successful, I watched be successful before me because they just follow the program. It's that simple. You know, I didn't follow the program the first time, so that's what happens. So let it be a lesson there. Anybody, you know, coming in, you're going to do it. You got to come into it 100% and just do it. So.
And what would you say though, you know, being fresh again, so to speak, right? Even though you have the understanding of like how the program works and whatnot, what would you say is different? Because from the get-go, what, 2-3 weeks ago when you got signed up, you're already seeing results instantly now. What would you say has changed? Is it just mainly the accountability piece or something else?
I think it's you know, it's a couple of things, right? The first time you start any program, it's overwhelming. I don't care what it is, it's tough. And you know, coming back the second time, I already had the base of the basic of the program. So coming back in, I already had the mindset of what to expect coming in. So if you can, as a first timer, even coming in, do your research and understand what you're going to be expected to do, you'll be successful. I didn't do that the first time. So I have hindsight behind me. You know, they say, you know, 2020 is, you know, perfect. Hindsight's 2020. We're the same.
Yeah.
Like that's what I have at this point. So that just helps me kind of fuel forward. But this works. I've watched many of you be very successful, and it clearly works. I said to my wife just earlier, this is the only program I've ever actually seen real people be successful, and I can talk to them and like they're really there. So you know this is not just a fake community.
Yeah. You also mentioned when we had our chat earlier today that Mark started after you, right?
He did.
And then seeing his success is kind of like that like, oh man, like, okay,
Yeah, man.
that could be me as well. So I like
Yeah.
hearing that, man. Thank you for sharing also.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Chad, let's go to you next, brother. What has been some of the things that you tried prior to Heartletics? And then tell everybody about the success, man, because you crushed this thing out of the park, man, with your fat loss journey. So I'm excited to hear more about that from you.
Oh, I'll start at the beginning. I tried running running out of my diet. I'd run until my feet were nubs and swim. I'd run and swim like a madman, but as soon as I stopped running and swimming, boom, the weight would just pile back on. I tried an old program. I don't know if anybody even recognizes it, called Body for Life, Bill Phillips program. Yeah, that sucks. It was horrible. I mean, I lost weight on it, but again, as soon as you stop the program, boom, the fat just comes right on back. I heard Nutrisystem. I mean, that food is horrible, disgusting. And then intermittent fasting has been the most recent thing that I tried before Heartletics. And again, it worked for a little bit. I lost about 20 pounds. I was able to keep that off. So I started that 20 pounds down at Heartletics, but I had just plateaued and there was no movement from there.
Yeah.
And that helped me. That I think that helped prep me to be ready for Heartletics, though. So I mean, I was in a position that Hannah and I had been talking for like 2 years or better, that we wanted to make a change and lose weight and be healthier, and it was just the right timing, man.
Yeah. What I guess led to you like setting up that call and like, signing up for Heartletics, and then tell everybody about like the progression, what has, happened as far as the success?
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if anybody was in the kind of the same position as me. I mean, when I found Heartletics, I wanted it to be real. I wanted it to be good. I talked to Hannah a few times, but we found you on Facebook. So I've got a horrible track record on finding stuff on Facebook and it being crap. So
like story after story.
Yeah, it's horrible. So but I needed Heartletics to work, and
we were desperate.
Yes, thank God that you were real.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I'm a real person. Everybody thinks I'm some kind of automated robot half the time when they download my fat loss guide off a Facebook ad and start messaging me. It's funny. What has led?
But before I get to physically what happened, I just wanted to say I think one of the biggest things that I learned to help me, it opened my mind, whatever, to I don't have to be afraid of my future. My future can change. Coach Joe, you know my past. I was an active duty Air Force guy. I went into active duty straight out of high school. I know nothing other than the military. I work for the military now as a retired civilian. And I always just pictured I would just do a second career, and that was my path. And now with the mindset coaching, that doesn't have to be my path. I've got other dreams and visions that I'm working on.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love hearing that. Mindset's everything too. We tell everybody this, like if we can really help change your mindset, odds are the habits, the sustainability, like that's the true eyes on the prize, right? That's the true success. It's changing somebody's mindset because that's what changes somebody's outward look appearance of life, plain and simple. And lastly, Chad, what's been the success, man? Everybody's on their toes waiting to hear this.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's not a surprise. I think I'm really just on that same trajectory as Mark and Coach Brian. Started off in the 30s of my body fat percentage. I'm right at the bottom end of the 16s, getting ready to dump into the 15s. Started off at 257, I think. I'm almost into the 170s now. I'm probably about 180. So it's peeling off me. I've still got I do have some physical goals. Mike said, love that mirror. So the mirror's telling me I got that little bottom belly roll that just is being stubborn, but it's going to go. It's out of here.
I love that, brother. Thank you for sharing that, man. And I love the goals. Bill, let's go to you next, brother. You've also had tremendous amount of success. Why don't you kind of, share with everybody what you've tried doing before Heartletics, and then obviously, what led you to get signed up with Heartletics, and then your success.
Sure. Well, for excuse me, for years, I did Weight Watchers, and Weight Watchers, it worked for a while. I went to the meetings, counted the points, did all that stuff, lost weight, and then just sort of fell off, right? Hey, I'm smarter than these people now. I can do it myself. Boop, right back on again. A couple years ago, I got some blood work back, and my doctor suggested I, start cutting out carbs and lowering my sugar because my diabetic numbers were starting to creep up. And he suggested something like paleo. So I found a paleo guy, and I worked the paleo program for a good, I don't know, year and a half, maybe. And, weight dropped like it was nothing, right? And I'm feeling good, numbers went down. And then eventually, brother needs a pizza, right? And it was it's unsustainable. So I start slowly but surely sort of creeping back into the same bad habits that had led me to need Weight Watchers and paleo in the first place. So when I joined Heartletics, and people on the phone who've known me long enough are gonna laugh, right? I'm not a gym guy. I'm not a workout guy, never have been. I'm pretty sedentary. I work in an office, work 9 to 5 or 7 to 3, whatever, and don't get a whole lot of activity in. So when I started Heartletics, Heartletics was the first program that sort of encompassed everything, right? It encompassed the nutrition piece that the Weight Watchers and the paleo was trying to get at, but it was different and more expansive and more educational. But it also included, hey, you got to get moving, right? You got to get off your fat ass and start moving. Even if it's a walk around the block, right? I don't care what. And that's something I was unaccustomed to. So Heartletics is the first program that I've seen that sort of encompasses the nutrition value in addition to the physical. And then we start talking about sort of the mindset, right? The question was kind of, what did I learn from Heartletics? And I guess what I've learned from Heartletics, and my key takeaway, is that my whole adult life I've been living afraid, and fear is paralyzing and keeps you standing still. And what I've learned in the however long it's been since I've been on, what, 4 or 5 months maybe,
Yeah.
is that movement is everything. And any movement is better than no movement. And now I'm consistently getting in movement. What that movement is each day varies. But the fact that I'm getting up and doing it every day is one of my big wins and one of my big takeaways from Heartletics in general.
Yeah, you're consistent with it. And with that consistency, Bill, what was the success that you had so far? I guess share with everybody the numbers.
Yeah, I started weight wise, and the weight's not as big a deal. The weight wise, I started right around 230 to a little under 230, and now I'm right a little over 190. So, 30, 35 pounds. My blood work has declassified me as a diabetic. I had an A1C of 8, and my last blood work a couple weeks ago, I was in the 3 point something, and the doctor said he'd never seen a change that dramatic that quickly.
I love that.
In addition to just my sugar numbers went from over 200 to under 100. So all of those things I think are a result of all of the things that Heartletics brings to the table. Not to mention you 17 idiots who I'm sitting here on the Zoom chat with.
I love it, man. Thank you for sharing.
And his baseball uniform doesn't fit him very
Oh
good.
yeah. You didn't even talk
Thank
about that,
you.
man. All the celebrities wanted all the photos with you, big dog.
Yeah, let's save that for a different conversation that doesn't go on YouTube.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Brian, let's go to you next, brother, and then we'll finish things off with Gary and then with Jeremy for the close.
Sounds good. Yeah, so basically I've tried everything just like everybody else. I've done the P90X, I did keto, I did ideal protein, I did Atkins low carb, and then I did actually went to a doctor and they were giving me like phentermine for weight loss and putting me on pre-diabetic medication, all this stuff, and it was costing a fortune to do that, and I ended up quitting that because basically everything that never worked previously is just not like everybody talks about. It's not sustainable. Constantly cutting everything out that you enjoy, it's not fun. So even if you did lose a bunch of weight, you're not happy about it. Like, oh, everybody else is doing whatever they want. You're stuck never eating what you want. So the biggest thing I've learned from this program is this is something that you can do. It's easy. You can do this the rest of your life, and you will succeed at your goals. Like before this, I guess I always hoped that I would reach my goals, but now I know I can. And so that mindset for me is completely changed, knowing that I can do this, I will do this, and I have no issue about doing this in the future. And I don't feel bad anymore. So if I have a day where I want to go have pizza or whatever, it's not a big deal. I don't beat myself up over it anymore. And the biggest thing though for me was when I first was starting down this journey, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to eat that much protein. And it's so easy now. And a lot of it's because all the stuff is out there everywhere, but the community, it teaches you things that you wouldn't even think about, because you feel like when you're in an island, it's so hard to like see all the different options out there. But when you're in the community, man, that was the biggest thing that I loved about this whole thing, is so many different options that help you get better for yourself. So, I mean, I've got nothing but amazing results to talk about. I'm down over 50 pounds. I'm still in the program. I'm starting phase 6 next week. I'm under 270. I haven't been under 270 in a while. I started at 320. I can almost guarantee I'm under 40% body fat, which is awesome. So it's everything's going in the right direction. And the other thing too is with the stats, you learn how your body responds. Like, yeah, everybody's a little different. So mine, I figured out it's about every 4 weeks I have a bigger spike of weight loss, and then it's like and then boom, and then so it's like seeing those in a graph and like charting it out with coaches. That's the thing that you get out of this experience that you wouldn't get just doing it on your own.
I love
so
that.
That's
man.
pretty much it. Yeah.
I love 2 things, right? 2 takeaways. Thank you for sharing also. One, I love what you said about the mindset and knowing like you will achieve your goals. I love that, right? That is pure confidence right there in a nutshell. And the second part was, yeah, about the body trends, right? How your body specifically reacts, right? And knowing those stats is going to give you that reassurance, knowing that, okay, hey, this is normal. I was like this last month, but then next week it's going to be another spike down. So I love that, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Gary, let's go to you next, brother. Hold on, you got to unmute yourself. There we go.
So, yeah, like everybody else, I went through a whole bunch of programs, and the biggest difference and the thing that I love about this program is you control your menu, you control your intake, and there's so much flexibility because it's a balanced approach. So when I did paleo, keto, Atkins, when I did all of those, you were so limited. And I had this mindset, oh, I'm in ketosis now. And then there's a piece of garlic bread. And oh my God, if I have that piece of garlic bread, it's going to set me back a week. And I'm going to have to flush all that out of my system, get those carbs out of there, and let's get back on track. And so anytime you fell into temptation, you felt like your whole week was shot. It's going to take me forever to recover from this. And with Heartletics, I'm in control of it, and I can see my macros. And if I know maybe I'm going to have something for dinner tonight, it's going to be high in fat, or maybe it's going to be high in carbs. I can plan for that, and I can adjust for that. And there's no guilt, there's no panic, there's no worry. Everything's going to be fine at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, whether you're eating 3 meals a day or 5 meals a day, it's going to all wash out if you plan for it. And that's what I'm able to do. And that's what I love about it, because I'm not locked in to this strict menu where I'm eating chicken breasts for 2 meals every day for the next 2 weeks. I went through that once, and I hated chicken breasts for probably a year. But now I just love the variety I get, and I love that I'm in control of it, and there's no guilt.
You know what I love too, Gary, is that like when you first got signed up, you were featured on a podcast. Remember, Have Your Cake and Eat It Too, because we put an extension to your prep weeks because you're going to Sandals, and we went on that podcast to give you all tips and value. And like, you've learned so much, man. It brings a smile to my face, like hearing what you just said, because I can just tell that you're learning everything as we're teaching you, man. So thank you for sharing that. Coach Jeremy, let's finish with you, brother. What has been, I guess, some things that you tried before in the past? What has been your biggest takeaways to, sign up with Heartletics, and what led to your success?
I'll just sum it up and say what I did wrong in the past was I did it on my own. I thought I knew what I was doing. I believed that I could do it. I was dead wrong. Pick a diet. Yeah, you get some results. They're not sustainable. You're going to be on a hamster wheel running. You jump off the hamster wheel, you be a fat mouse again. Back on the hamster wheel you go. So one of the biggest things to learn from here is diets aren't sustainable, but a lifestyle change is. Okay, with me, I've dropped 20 pounds of fat. My weight's been down to 191. I'm back up about 197 now, but it's lean muscle coming back on. It's not fat coming back on. I'm getting that lean muscle. Learned how to work out right. I've learned how to eat right and sustain it. And I'm seeing consistent results. Now, mine is up, down, up, down, up, down, because that's the way I lose weight, but I'm still going down.
Yeah.
So you trust the process, you keep going through it. And probably the biggest takeaway for me is learning that I was worth investing in. I'm going to kind of take off what Joe said earlier. If we don't fill our cup, how are we going to expect to be able to pour into other people? And I expect to be around a really, really long time. I mean, I'm going to be 106 like Bill over there, still doing the program, swinging my bat and having a good time. But, I am worth investing in, so I can invest more in my family.
I love that. Man. That was solid. And let's do this as we wrap things up, as we put an end to today's episode. I'm gonna put Coach Brian on the spot. Now, if he gets this wrong, you guys all owe me burpees. That's all I gotta say. And I don't even like burpees, nor do I like making other people do burpees. So Brian, pressure's on, brother. And Bill got his bat, so he'll come over there, he'll smack you around if you get this wrong. What is Coach Joe's favorite part of our coaching program? Brian, I swear to you, if you get this wrong, man,
The favorite.
I'll give you 2 hints. One, we only did this once so far. And the second thing is you can phone a friend if you need some help. Somebody that's on today's episode.
Man, I thought you were like going to set me up to knock it out of the park or something.
No, I got to make it hard.
Yeah, but you mentioned something that's your favorite and that you love all the time. So you have a bunch of favorite crap.
What do I love the most?
The most is not
The
you,
most.
Bill. Not you, Bill.
He
Am I
wants-
supposed
hey,
to phone you?
He wants to phone a friend, I
Oh.
think. Hold on. Pretend like you got the cell phone number going.
Yeah. Hey, is this Bill?
Donuts.
Well, we know he loves donuts.
Donuts.
He loves donuts.
So that's a tip. That's a tip. Brian, what's been my favorite part about our coaching program so far?
Your favorite part of the coaching
Bill
program
just gave you the biggest tip right there.
to eat donuts. I mean,
Oh my gosh. You all owe me
What-
burpees. You all owe me burpees.
what? Yeah, I'm not following it.
Let's call Bill back on. You wanna
Okay.
ring Bill back up?
Bill.
He loves losing donut eating competitions.
Thank you. I love winning donut eating competitions. With that being said, if anybody wants to take me on, the champion's here and always will be.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You did lose, right?
No, I absolutely not. Go watch my. Hey, listen.
Lose.
For anybody that's watching this right now or going to be watching it on YouTube, hey, I'll have posted below that the official donut eating competition of Heartletics, and they could see me, win in all my glory. That's all I'm saying. If they want to find out if I win or lose, they got to click on the video next, brother. That's all. That's all. So, guys, real talk. Thank you for everybody sharing and being honest about what they tried, what led to their success, and for anybody from the outside listening in. Hear it from everybody else, especially if you tried 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of the things that some of these guys mentioned over and over again about trying before in the past. It doesn't have to be hard. And that's what we try to make things at Heartletics is just, kind of like what Bill said. Hey, you're more mindful of what you're eating and you're just moving a little bit more. And that's it. Consistency is key. 1% better each and every day. Just don't give up. And I promise you guys will have success. So with that being said, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and we'll talk to you guys all next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.